If you are involved in an anti-discrimination complaint which has been referred to QCAT, you will find this video useful. You can also get fact sheets from the QCAT website or by calling QCAT.
Queensland Civil and Administrative Tribunal, Jane speaking.
Hi, I took my discrimination complaint to the Anti-discrimination Commission. We had a conciliation conference, but we couldn't come to an agreement, so what do I do now?
Okay, so if the Anti-discrimination Commission is unable to resolve your complaint, it provides a referral report to QCAT.
The Queensland Civil and Administrative Tribunal, known as QCAT, deals with matters which haven't been resolved at the Commission and have been referred to the Tribunal. The Tribunal is less formal than a court, but still makes decisions that can be enforced. The Tribunal Registry can give you information about tribunal processes, but can't give you legal advice. If you or a witness need an interpreter at any stage of the process, let the Tribunal Registry know as soon as possible.
I was just wondering if you've got any information about going to QCAT?
Usually, you're expected to represent yourself at QCAT. If you do represent yourself, you are responsible for putting your case together, collecting witness statements, and presenting that information at the hearing to prove your case. If you want a lawyer to represent you, you need to ask the Tribunal for permission as soon as possible. The Tribunal may also allow someone who is not a lawyer to represent you if appropriate.
My name's Shelley and I'm the lawyer here today. How can I help you?
I was a motor mechanics apprentice at Marley Motors for about a year when some of the other employees used to bully me all the time because I was the youngest person there.
I see.
I took a complaint to the Anti-discrimination Commission about age discrimination. I wanted the company to apologise and pay me compensation for the career that I lost, but they refused to sign any agreement.
The Commission provides a referral report to QCAT with copies of the complaint and other relevant documents. The Tribunal will give you a copy. At a directions hearing, the Tribunal member will tell you what steps to take to prepare for the final hearing.
Mr Harrison, if I were to ask you to file and serve your contentions by the 6th of June, would that give you enough time?
You must comply with these steps as they are orders of the Tribunal.
That's fine, Ms Hunter. I think that should work for us.
Thank you.
The first part of your preparation will be to clearly set out your case in writing.
Hey. Hi, how are you? I'm good. I was just here.
You then lodge this with the registry.
My name's Sean Thomas.
Do you have your reference number?
Then you need to send copies to the other parties involved. You may be ordered to attend a Tribunal compulsory conference. Where possible, this will be face-to-face, but sometimes it can be by teleconference. The member who manages the conference does not decide the case at the conference, but helps the parties try to resolve the complaint without a hearing. If there is no agreement, they can also help with questions such as how you can prove your case at a hearing. Witnesses are not allowed in the conference, although you may ask permission to bring a support person who isn't a witness. If you reach an agreement at the conference, all parties will be asked to file a signed copy of the agreement with the Tribunal.
I have a reputable business. My customers have always been happy with my mechanics. Some of them get a bit carried away with the practical jokes from time to time, but I'm sure they don't mean any harm to anyone. They're just hard-working blokes who like to let off steam by having a bit of fun every now and then.
If there's no agreement at the conference, you will need to do more preparation for the hearing. This might include providing all the witness statements and giving a list of all your documents to the other party. You can get copies of each other's documents so there are no surprises at the hearing.
Legal Aid Queensland, this is Shelley speaking.
Hi Shelley, this is Sean Thomas. I just got a settlement offer from Marley Motors. Can we still settle things, or can the complaint be withdrawn before the final hearing?
Yes, you can resolve the matter, or you can withdraw the complaint at any time. Just make sure that you let the Tribunal know what you're doing.
It takes time to get to the final hearing. A lot depends on you meeting the deadlines along the way. You have to prove your case at the final hearing, so it's important to prepare well.
I've been thinking there are a lot of things to do with my complaint that are a little bit personal and quite embarrassing. Can I keep those private?
Tribunal hearings are usually open to the public, including the media. The final decision is a public document and will be made available online. Under exceptional circumstances, the Tribunal may order that a person's identity be kept private.
You need to arrange for people who've given you witness statements to attend the hearing. Usually only witnesses whose statements have been provided to the Tribunal and the other parties can give evidence. Let the registry know if your expert or medical witness can only come at a certain time, or if a witness is interstate or ill. They may be able to give evidence by telephone if the Tribunal agrees.
I have a discrimination case coming up and my witness is in New South Wales at the moment.
Okay, what's your file
If a
number?
witness won't come to the hearing, you can ask the Tribunal to order them to attend. Witnesses give evidence by answering questions. Look at the witness statements for both sides and prepare questions to ask the witnesses at the hearing. The answers to these questions should tell the Tribunal what that person believes happened. Any costs related to witnesses attending the hearing, such as travel costs, are the responsibility of the person calling the witness. Bring all your documents to the final hearing, including the originals and some copies, because the Tribunal will keep some of them. The other parties should already have copies of any documents you want to use. Prepare a summary of your case, including the facts, how the law applies to these facts, and the decision you want the Tribunal to make. This will help you work out what you need to prove and how you are going to prove it. All parties must attend the final hearing. Up to 3 members may form the Tribunal for your hearing. You can call them member, or Ms Jones or Mr Smith.
Please sit. Good morning, my name is Elizabeth Hunter. I'll be presiding over the matter of Thomas and Marley Motors. You are welcome to call me Ms Hunter.
The procedure will be decided by the member, but there is a standard process that is followed. Usually, the applicant presents their case first. If they are represented, they are asked questions by their representative. If not, they tell the Tribunal member what happened.
Until May of 2010. I made complaints about age discrimination and I guess that's why I'm here today.
Okay, thanks Mr Thomas. We'll hear your evidence first. Would you like to come just over here?
Lawyers may stand up when they talk to the member, and you can do this too, except when you're in the witness box.
The affirmation, please. I solemnly affirm and declare that the evidence given by me in these proceedings shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You can continue, Mr Thomas.
I made a complaint because I was abused and bullied at Marley Motors just because I was much younger than everyone else there.
The member may ask questions to clarify what's been said.
You say that you're often abused at work. Can you give some examples of what you call the abuse you experienced in the workplace?
They were always calling me a stupid little boy or a spoiled young...
The applicant is then asked questions by the respondent. This is known as cross-examination.
So Sean, you said the management of Marley Motors knew about this so-called abuse. Don't you think we would have done something about it if you knew it was as serious as the events you were describing today?
You were the one who refused my leave applications all the time because you said that I hadn't worked long enough in my life to deserve a holiday.
The applicant's witnesses then give evidence. The applicant asks each witness questions so that their answers will tell the Tribunal what happened.
And that's when he said something like, these soft young pups need to toughen up.
Right. Well, thank you, Miss Bradshaw. That's all of my questions.
Mr Harrison, do you have any questions?
Each of the
for Ms.
applicant's
Bradshaw?
witnesses may then be cross-examined by the respondent.
You said earlier that you and Mr Thomas weren't really good friends at work. I'm wondering then how you were able to say that he became withdrawn and nervous over his time at work.
Well, actually, we did used to talk quite a lot in the lunchroom. I remember once when
The applicant may be allowed to ask their witness more questions about things the witness said in cross-examination.
Mr. Harrison, can you please come take a seat over here?
The respondent then presents their case and calls their witnesses.
Mr. Harrison, what's your response to these allegations?
Ms Hunter, I'm the manager of Marley Motors. I've worked there for 15 years and I've never seen anything as extreme as the behaviour Mr Thomas described in his complaint.
The respondent and their witnesses may be cross-examined by the applicant, and the respondent may be allowed to ask further questions after the
They may
cross-examination.
not be the most sensitive types, but I'm sure that they were only playing harmless pranks on the boy and having a bit of fun.
Mr. Harrison, do you think it's acceptable for one of your workers to call another worker a stupid little boy?
Well, I guess it depends on how they say it. If they say it as a joke, it probably should be taken as a joke. If they did say that, I'm sure they didn't mean any harm.
After all the witnesses for all parties have given evidence, the applicant and respondent usually each give a closing summary about their case and how it relates to the law.
I couldn't stand going into work anymore, and I had to quit my job. I didn't take another apprenticeship.
Sometimes you will be asked to put your summary in writing. These are called submissions. There are a few things you should keep in mind for the hearings. Stick to the point. Be on time. Keep your cool and be polite, even if you feel upset. If you need a break, ask the member.
I will consider all the evidence and make a decision.
The tribunal doesn't always give a decision immediately. The member may take time to consider the evidence and write the decision. QCAT sends a decision to the parties. The tribunal can make a range of orders. For example, that a party make an apology, attend training, or pay compensation. The tribunal can also dismiss the application. If you are not happy with the decision, you may consider an appeal. Your appeal rights will be fully detailed in a notice attached to the decision. There are strict time limits for appealing a decision. Remember, the Tribunal Registry can help with questions about process, but can't give legal advice.
The process is designed to make sure that everyone gets a fair go